Humans have been making things from copper for more than 10,000 years. For nearly 5 millennia, it was the only metal known to man. It is completely safe. In fact, there are trace elements of copper inside all of us. But until now, the potential of its medicinal properties has not been fully realized. Studies have shown that copper has a lethal effect on bacteria and viruses. This means it can protect us from disease-causing microbes. An antibiotic resistance crisis is on the horizon. By 2050, it's estimated that drug-resistant infections will kill an extra 10 million people a year worldwide, more than currently die annually from cancer. However, copper can help combat this growing crisis. We caught up with Bill Keevil, Professor of Environmental Healthcare and Principal Investigator of Microbiology at University of Southampton, to find out more.
Copper has what we call oligodynamic properties. When a bacterium lands on a copper surface, copper ions punch holes in the bacterial cell membrane so it becomes leaky, so they start to collapse, and the copper attacks their nucleic acid, their DNA and RNA. So that means that they're killed, and very importantly, the copper prevents mutation because all of the genes are destroyed.
What are your thoughts on the research that Copper Clothing is driving?
Copper Clothing Limited is harnessing and extracting the oligodynamic properties of copper to fight bacteria, viruses and fungi. And we and other labs have shown that contact of these pathogens on copper clothing fabric inactivates or kills them in just minutes.
So, how does the technology work? In short, copper ions are bonded molecularly into fabric at high temperatures, allowing the material to be flexible and pliable without any change in comfort or feel. Wash testing shows that the copper ions are not washed away and, in fact, last the lifetime of the product. Drug-resistant infections aren't the only future threat. The COVID-19 pandemic has changed life as we know it, but hand washing or even a vaccine doesn't stop the spread of disease. Copper-infused products could help to prevent future pandemics.
We need every weapon we can to fight emerging infections, superbugs, viruses, what have you. When we look at this new virus, SARS-CoV-2, which is the cause of COVID-19, it's taken us a year to develop new vaccines. Now that in itself is a marvellous achievement. And in the meantime, millions of people have died around the world and over 100 million people have been infected. So we've got to buy time while we develop new interventions such as a vaccine.
The Lancet Medical Journal found that COVID-19 can live on surgical masks for up to 7 days, but independently tested research shows that copper clothing products kill 99.99% of the virus. Currently, silver is used in a large number of medical products.
Some people might recognize silver as an antimicrobial, but when you actually do appropriate tests, as we have done, silver only works when it's wet, not when it's dry. So if silver is in a wound dressing, for example, then it works very well. But if you put superbugs such as MRSA onto a dry silver surface, it doesn't work. Now, by contrast, if you put those same bacteria onto dry copper, then the copper works very well and kills the bacteria in just a few minutes. So in fact, copper has got much wider uses than silver, and it's also much more effective.
Crucially, copper is cost-effective and sustainable, and it's the most reused and recycled metal in the world. The potential application of copper in everyday garments and products within medical and other sectors is vast. Copper has immense life-saving potential that's just waiting to be realised, and copper clothing is leading the charge.